Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name's Nicola and welcome. Today's video is the second part of my cancer journey. If this is the first time of you watching this video, I would advise you to go back and watch the first one so that you know exactly what's going on. So let's get into the video. Where did we leave off last? I know there was a couple of things that I missed out. Because of the treatment that I received, it has left me infertile. It has also brought on the menopause as well. I have to take HRT for that because of my age. I'm basically too young to be going through this, so yeah, I have to take tablets for that. I finished my treatment mid-January. I got a scan 3 months after that, and they weren't sure if it was still there or it was scarring that was left behind. So I actually had to go for biopsies. So I was put under and they took biopsies. A couple of weeks later I got the news that it was scarring and the cancer was away. So you can imagine my joy. I was over the moon. I went out and I celebrated. I even bought myself a bottle of champagne. So yeah, it was a good time. So come 2017, I think it was maybe April time, I started to have some problems. And it started off that I kept going to the toilet a lot. And then it became that every time I was going to the toilet, I was bleeding as well. I went to the doctors. I gave them a urine sample. She tested it. It had traces of blood and she gave me antibiotics. She said if this didn't work, I was to come back, and she gave me a bottle to bring a specimen with me when I went back. So I took the antibiotics and it still continued. It actually got worse. I was passing massive blood clots. I was also passing what looked like stones, a bit like kidney stones. So I went back to the doctors and I took my urine sample with me. She sent it away for testing and gave me more antibiotics. She did say to me if it had come back clear that she would investigate, because obviously there was something wrong, and that I was to phone in a week's time. So I phoned in a week's time and the receptionist said to me that it came back clear and there was no further action. So I got off the phone and I was a bit confused because the nurse did say that they would be investigating if it came clear. But then I was seeing my oncologist a week later, so I thought, you know what, I'll just mention it to her. She might know more about what's going on. I mentioned it to my oncologist the following week and she said that she would refer me to a urologist and she would get an MRI scan sorted out. I got my appointment for the urologist. I got a camera into my bladder and she said that it was very red, there was a lot of blood, and that I would have to come back and get one while I was under. In the meantime, MRI results were in and I got a phone call from my cancer nurse, and she basically just said that they had found something that wasn't there previous. It was just below where my belly button is in my abdomen. They don't know what it is. Because of my history, they had to investigate it further. So she was going to sort out a CT scan for me. I went to the urologist and I was put under, and then when I woke up, the urologist came to see me and he just explained exactly what he did. He had burnt the lining of my bladder to stop the bleeding. He took biopsies and he also said that there was this white stuff coating my bladder, and that's where he thinks the stones have come from, and that he did scrape a bit away but he couldn't do it all because I would have to stay overnight. So he did say that this will come back again. I then got the CT results. I went to see my oncologist for this. She just sat down and she basically just said that she thinks that it's cancer again and that I would be getting sent for a PET scan to see exactly if it is. They had found a lymph node at 3 centimetres. So I went for my PET scan and then I went for the results again. So she confirmed it. She says, yeah, it looks as though it is cancer and there's a lymph node at 3 centimetres. We did think about an operation, but we feel that it could be too complex, so we're not going to go down that route. You'll just go for radiotherapy. So I was like, okay, it was a bit of in fact, it was a massive blow. It was absolutely devastating. I thought getting cancer the first time, if you were to get it again, it would be easier. But it was harder the second time around. It really was. Me and my mum and my daughter and my brother and, you know, my friends, we were all devastated. I just couldn't believe that here I was again getting diagnosed for a second time. The next day I got a phone call from my oncologist and she just basically said that there's a surgeon who is 100% confident that he can remove this. She said that she'd set up an appointment for me to go and see him and he would discuss this even more. I went to see him and he basically says, yeah, I'm 100% confident I could easily remove this. I'll try keyhole first, but if I can't get it out by keyhole, I may have to open you up. But they actually gave me the choice. I had the choice of going for the operation and then having radiotherapy, or just going straight for radiotherapy. I asked his opinion what would be the best. He said that because the lymph node was 3 centimetres, that he would go for the operation first. He says if it had been smaller, I'd have said go for the radiotherapy. I was like, okay, right, we'll go for the operation. Let's go for the operation. So I got the operation in December, the 5th of December. He couldn't get it out through keyhole, so they had to open me up. I have a scar from my belly button down to my pubic bone. This operation took nearly 8 hours to do, and I really can't remember much coming round after the operation. I remember seeing my daughter walk through the door and then run back out. And then I remember that I seen her face right up here, and then I seen my brother's and my mum's, and I could see they were upset. My daughter got a fright when she first saw me because I was still hooked up to machines and I was very, very groggy, and I was trying to tell her I was okay, I was just tired, and I really can't remember much. When I woke up the next day, 2 nurses come in to give me a wash, and when they were turning me to my side, I screamed, absolutely screamed in agony because it was so painful. I thought the brachytherapy was bad. This was 10 times worse. If I sneezed, it was sore. If I coughed, it was sore. If I laughed, it was sore. If I moved an inch, it was sore. It was really, really painful. The surgeons come to see me and they basically told me that there was 2 lymph nodes at 3 centimetres, and in all they had removed 14 lymph nodes from my abdomen area. I was in the hospital for a week. I went to stay with my mum after that so she could look after me. So just over a week later, I woke up one morning about 5 o'clock and I felt this wet stuff at my stomach area, and I just totally panicked. and I shouted on my mum. I was screaming, and she come through and there was blood and this like liquidy stuff all over me, and it just kept coming out. So she got my brother to phone NHS 24, and they said there'd be a 48-hour callback. He hung up and mum's like, no, we have to take her to the hospital. So they took me to the hospital and I was readmitted into the ward that I was in when I got my operation. It turned out that I had a really bad infection. I was on 3 different types of antibiotics through a drip, and I had to get this for about 5 days, which was just... I was constantly hooked up to a machine. It wasn't very good, I have to say. The nurses would dress my wound and they would constantly have to change it because it just kept leaking. It was just a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. By then, the results had come in for the lymph nodes that were removed, and out of 14, 6 of them were cancerous. They tested the cells and it wasn't a new cancer, it was cancer cells from the cervical cancer. So what had happened is the cells had broken away and travelled up my lymphatic system. So what was scary about that is I had all these scans, but only 1 lymph node was picked up. But when they operated, there was 2 at 3 centimetres and 6 lymph nodes were cancerous, and that wasn't even picked up in any of the scans I had, which is kinda... it's scary, considering these machines are supposed to be quite high tech, and you would think that they would pick anything up. I was in the hospital for a week, and I got out Christmas Eve at 7 o'clock. So you can imagine my panic. I'm like, oh my god, I need to wrap these presents. Thankfully, I'd got most of my presents before I went into the hospital. I didn't get everything I wanted, but I could only get what I could. We had a good Christmas. I got waited on hand and foot, what can you say? And yeah, so from me coming out the hospital to February time, I was backwards and forwards to the doctors because I was just constantly getting infections. My wound just didn't want to heal up. It was very frustrating because I had to wear dressings all the time. And I constantly felt sick, and with it taking all these antibiotics, I think I got nearly enough 20 courses of antibiotics, which is, it's not good for you. It's just not. So I was given my date to start radiotherapy. I went, what happens when you go for radiotherapy is that you get tattoo marks where the radiotherapy is going to go, and they're just tiny dots, smaller than a freckle. So I went and got them done and got my date to start. My friend had offered to take me, because usually my mum comes to these things with me, but my friend offered to take me, and I said to mum, look, do you mind if I get my friend to take me this time? And she's like, yeah, that's okay. So we go through Edinburgh, and I get through there, and my oncologist is there and the radiotherapy nurse, and they want to speak to me first. So they sat me down and they basically said, we're really sorry, but we can't give you the radiotherapy. And I just was like, what? And they're like, no, we can't. And I just burst out crying. I was hysterical, absolutely hysterical. And I was like, what do you mean you can't give me the radiotherapy? They says, we've looked at the scans and we've realised that it overlaps for the last time you had radiotherapy. We really can't afford to give you the radiotherapy because it could leave you in a lot of damage, especially to the organs and the tissues surrounding that area. We just can't risk it. So I was panicking. I was like, what happens now, sort of thing, because obviously I'm thinking back to what the scans didn't pick up, and radiotherapy probably would have been to mop up whatever if there was anything left behind. So I was panicking, thinking, oh my god, what's going to happen now? They says that they would never give up on me, and that it would just have to be a waiting game basically. But because I was hysterical, my oncologist thought that I didn't take much of it in, so she asked me to come back in a couple of days with my mum. So then we're panicking, thinking, why does she want to speak to my mum? But basically she just explained it again, and we would just have to wait and see what happens really. I got a scan in March 2018 and everything looked good. She said that, you know, there's nothing that she could see. She says, I can't tell you that you're cancer free yet because, you know, with the scans and that, we just can't tell. So we were basically we were to wait until the next scan. The next scan was June 2018. Being diagnosed the second time nearly destroyed me. It really did. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything. It nearly destroyed me. I tried to keep a lot inside, and because I didn't want anybody worrying about me, so I would keep how I felt to myself. But it wasn't just hard on me, it was hard on my mum and my daughter and my brother, and obviously my friends and the rest of my family. It's like we couldn't get a break. So yeah, it's been the hardest time ever. So I finally got another scan in June of 2018 and they had found something again. So yeah, I was diagnosed a third time. I'm going to leave the video at that and speak about the third time in a separate video. And I hope you've liked this, and I hope that somebody out there's maybe got some information from this, it's maybe helped somehow. And yeah, if you liked this video, please give it a like, and if you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so you're notified anytime I upload a video, and you could get the third part of this as well. I'll see you soon guys, and thank you for watching.